Welcome to Bad Gear, the show about the world's most hated audio tools. In spite of my limitless love for Roland in general, my efforts to turn even their most controversial gear into a sought-after classic, and the fact that I was prophetically advertising their instruments months before the actual product announcement, our favorite synth brand didn't send me their new Aira Compact P-6. However, today we are going to talk about the Korg ES-1. Putting this creative sampler from the year 2000 on the show is not only my personal way of coping with this unfathomable disappointment, the two instruments are, a few modern bells and whistles aside, suspiciously similar. At the first glance, the ES-1 is ticking all the "it took Roland a while to get their boxes." 7 tracks, of 32 kHz lo-fi goodness can be triggered from an easy-to-use step sequencer with up to 64 steps per pattern. Tracks 1 to 4 are capable of holding stereo samples if you're willing to sacrifice track count, and number 6 and 7 come with built-in choke groups. Not unlike the P-6, the ES-1 comes with a surprisingly powerful slice functionality, which lets you chop up samples. Apart from this rather sophisticated feature, traditional sampler-style sound design options are limited. Sure, there's a basic non-resonant per-track filter, but you will have to make do without envelopes for amp and filter, and the non-chromatic sample playback is one-shots only. It is, however, a sampler after all, so you don't have to stick to the almost painfully late 90s stock samples.
Yeah! Say word.
But you can either indulge in the vintage crunch of the instrument's AD converters or load samples recorded elsewhere from a smart media card. Fortunately, this is not one of the prohibitively expensive 5V cards. Readily available 3.3V cards work just fine. Nevertheless, sample handling is old school with strict naming conventions, proprietary file formats, and primitive start-stop point editing, including time-consuming processing. It seems like some things never change. You can load up to 4 megs of samples, which results in 95 seconds of mono material with up to 100 mono and 50 stereo slots, which is also in the P-6 ballpark. The TR-style sequencer is super intuitive. Enter a few notes, define accents, maybe throw in a roll for good measure, and enjoy the all-over-the-place internal clock and inebriated feel of the patterns, which most probably stem from a CPU completely overwhelmed by what's going on. Mute and solo will reset each time you stop the sequencer, which is a royal PITA, and feel free to leave a comment about the song mode, which I, per usual, will totally ignore. Classic motion recording aside, the main sound design hub of the machine is the FX section. Dirty AF compression, metallic reverb, and other warehouse rave-ready algos will keep it underground, while the syncable master delay is delicious. As you might have expected, the ES-1 comes without the granular engine of the P-6, but you can transgate the hell out of external sound sources. When I look at P-6 videos, it seems like plastic enclosures, cheap-looking connectivity, and flimsy knobs are still on vogue these days, but the ES-1 at least already stood the test of time. Given its status as an iconic groove machine, it might come as a surprise that prices are not yet out of hand completely. After over 20 years, the ES-1 still bears many similarities to instruments even gear tubers like me can't lay their hands on yet. Is it the blueprint for the modern limitations breed creativity sampler? You have already heard the Electribe in today's intro tune. Playing melodies is almost impossible, so I just used it for the drums. At least you don't have to listen to a granular ambient version. Time to combine it with its Rumpler sibling and turn swing to 11.
I didn't know that a drum machine could be drunk. It would be quite a challenge to emulate that kind of groove in a DAW or modern sequencing hardware. The compressor is punchy as hell, but the chromatic sequencer mode of its sibling is dearly missed. Let's load up a few loops for some lo-fi crunch and use the internal delay for extra dirty fills. That was pretty cool too, although it clearly shows the limitations of the machine. The overall tone tends to be a bit flabby, and without envelopes the only way to make it punch is again the compressor blocking up the FX unit. I wanna know if the unique groove of the machine can survive in a DAW environment in this stock sample only 2-step garage for early noughties after hours and UK pirate radio.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Verdict: if it wasn't for the classic design, obsolete storage medium and lack of USB ports, the ES-1 could be mistaken for a contemporary sampling machine. Seemingly random limitations, love it or loathe it UI, and the CPU barely able to keep up with the fast-paced workflow are things that fans of more recent budget groove boxes know all too well. Speaking of, when compared to the P-6, which is available at around the same price, you will have to make do with many of its modern features, most of them hidden in obscure Rolandian menus, while the Electribe boasts more generous front panel controls and can easily be operated by chimpanzees on herbal medicine. Given the awesomeness of the Aira Compact S-1, I'd be totally willing to shill the living hell out of the P-6. It's hard to tell why Roland doesn't want me to. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to like, subscribe, become a patron, leave a comment what other kind of gear you would like to see and hear on the show, and use one of the links down below that support the channel regardless of what your bad gear gas commands you to buy.